Here's a little fun fact. I literally just recorded a video on my laptop, and for whatever reason, it won't play, okay? So I've transferred over to my phone. So I'm gonna go through this again, because at the end of the video, I was literally saying to be fed up with the enemy. He tries it, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there, okay? Man, but hey, maybe the Lord will give me more to say, because the situation, yeah. So I was talking about how this year for me, right? So at the end of the year, very end of the year, I had found out that I was pregnant. So this is pregnancy number 2. And, you know, we're really excited. We weren't expecting, you know, like we weren't planning, rather. So yeah, so we're really excited. And then New Year comes rolling in. Really early of that year, I start to feel like cramping, you know. And it was almost as if like it was my cycle. And like me, typically, I don't really like taking pain meds unless I really do like need to. And so like I was just kind of like, you know, thugging it out a bit. But yeah, I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't sure what I should do during that period. I can't remember if I reached out through like my chart to, you know, reach out to the doctor or not. I'm really not sure. I don't remember. So, so yeah, I have my first appointment, I think like the 13th of January. And so I go, and they're doing the ultrasound, and, you know, unfortunately, like there was no baby in there. And so I was very shocked. I was really caught off guard. I didn't know like how to think, how to be like, and we left the doctor's office, and I just needed a second, you know. I needed a second to just sit, get my mind together, you know. And so it was very, very hard, very, very hard for me. The second, so that was January. And then, so March, I find out that I'm pregnant again. So this is pregnancy number 3. I go to my first appointment. Everything is fine. This had to be like yeah, March. Yeah. So, yeah, I go to my first appointment. I'm really, really excited because I see the baby, you know, and I'm just very grateful, you know. The doctor is like, yeah, because of the situation, you know, with pregnancy number 2, I want you to come back in 2 weeks. So we came back. Well, before we left, we scheduled that appointment. And so went through a whole lot to get that scheduled, you know, because I mean, that specific location, very busy, you know. And so, yeah, they were able to book that appointment. You know, I got squeezed into that. And so leaving, everything was good. I don't remember what day of the week that appointment was on, but everything was fine. You know, I'm just floating on air. You know, I'm just like, man, praise the Lord. I'm so excited, you know, all of that. And so then this was on a Tuesday, and we had just finished prayer, you know, with the ministry that we're a part of. And I feel this same shot of blood, just like with pregnancy number 2. And so I'm freaking out. I'm very, very nervous. I'm very frightened as well of the thought of, oh no, like, please don't let this thing happen again, you know? And so because of the second pregnancy and me not knowing that I was actually having a miscarriage, I am looking. Every time I go to the bathroom, I'm checking. Anytime I feel something coming out, I'm checking. And the reason why I did that, you know, is because with the second pregnancy, because I didn't know that I was pregnant, I felt like I had to check every time I felt something come down with the third pregnancy, is because of just the trauma, because of the shame and condemnation that I felt from pregnancy 2, and how the enemy just had me just believe the lie of why would you flush your child down the drain like that? You know, the enemy accused me of just so much during that time, you know. And so I just wanted to make sure that it didn't happen again, and that I would be able to have just even my moment of silence, you know, because it hurt. It hurt. It hurt so much. And, you know, when we sought the Lord, even with pregnancy number 2, you know, he said it was a girl, and, you know, we named her. And pregnancy number 3 was a boy. We named him. And I was just really traumatized. Very, very traumatized. The third pregnancy, you know, that one almost took me out. I'm not even gonna lie. That one, I'm like, Jesus, you're gonna have to carry me. Carry me, please. Because I am dying. And so it's just really, really hard. Really, really hard. The lies of the enemy and accusing me and accusing God. Like, there was a lot just coming at me, you know, and my body just after, let alone after, even after having Naomi, you know, like I had lost a bit, you know, of hair. And so, like, you know, recovered, and then now I'm getting hit, you know, with these 2 miscarriages almost back to back. And like my hormone is just up and down. And so, like, you know, now I'm going back into this stage of like hair loss and, you know, all of this. And, you know, prayerfully, you know, thankfully, like my hair is already like, you know, pretty thick. Um, but like a majority of like the hair that like I lost was really like in the front. And so like if you can see, yeah, we have some like baby micro locks right here in the front. So I think there's like three. Yeah, like three right there in the front. Yeah, there's another one right here. And so, you know, with me now, you know, having micro locks, I've been able to kind of like uh, hide it in a way. But yeah, like it was a lot. I'm like, man, that right there was like traumatic, you know. Yeah, we have taken some like some holiday pictures, and it's actually the one that is my picture here on YouTube. You know, so we took this here. I straightened my hair out, and now after that happened, I'm just, you know, just seeing like, ugh, you know. And so that really, really like, you know, freaked me out. And so um it was a lot. It was a lot that was happening with my body. And I there's no way that I'm still here if it wasn't for the strength of the Lord. You know, the love that he poured out just in my times of crying and just, Lord, I don't understand. And even the love that he showed and poured out in the body, you know, in the ministry that I'm a part of, it just, there's no way that I am still here if it wasn't for the Lord's strength and bringing me through, you know. It was very, very challenging. You know, I'm in leadership of the ministry that I'm in, and so, you know, that would have done a lot, you know, a lot of damage, you know. But God really, really drew very close to me in that time. And what's so interesting about even like that season and just like us going through all of those things, it almost it almost feels like the enemy like asked the Lord if he could like touch us, you know. And what I've also heard too, this isn't from me, but this is someone that I heard, you know, say. And you know, so we were at a previous Bible study, and he said, because the topic I think was on like trials, right? We were actually talking about, you know, the book of Job. And so we he was talking, and he said, yeah, you know, what's crazy is I really do think that when the enemy approaches the throne, you know, to see about us and all of that, you know, to hit us, that, you know, there's a lot on like which we don't know and why the Lord allows things to happen. But like part of why the Lord allows, you know, this said thing to happen is because like Jesus really has faith in us, that what he's poured out on us, what he's shown us, that we would show the enemy just how much he is a liar and just how much we won't fold. You know, like Jesus saying, okay, well, you want to touch my daughter, you want to touch my son, go ahead. I guarantee you they won't fold, you know. And so like just his just faith that he has in us, his like, no, I know my daughter, I know my son, like I thought that was so incredible, that he said that. And that is something that I'll never forget, because I genuinely believe that Jesus really knows that whatever it is, I mean, we've heard it before, right? The Lord doesn't give us too much that we can handle, but like that thing, the way that he said it, that hits harder for me, like, and not like in a prideful thing, like, but that Jesus, he's seen, the ways that we've sought him. He's seen the way, even our hearts, the way that our hearts, like are like set up, and how we genuinely really do love him. Like, nah, so 1000%, I'm not folding, I'm not backsliding. I'm going to continue to go forth and do what Jesus has called me to do. If Jesus blesses my womb again, praise God. But if he doesn't, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the children that I have. I'm thankful that on that day, I'm going to be reunited with my children up in heaven, and I am going to have that opportunity to just hold them and to just spend that time, spend that time with them. So I really, really am blessed. I really, really am blessed. So the weight of that was very, very heavy. And I'm just really thankful for the Lord's strength. I'm thankful that I am still in my right mind, me and my husband. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that, oh man, there's nothing that Jesus can't redeem and can't make new. This situation, it really has, just even allowed area for even me and my husband to grow closer. That we have just, almost like entered into just a new layer of a deeper love, with each other, but also even with the Lord, and so I'm not sure, if any of you have also gone through the same thing. But I'm telling you, don't give in to the enemy's lies. Don't entertain. Don't be entertained by them. But I don't want you to underestimate him too. He's really dumb for real, but he's clever, very, very clever, and so we are not a match for the enemy. The only reason why we can keep going is really by the strength of the Lord, by listening to his instructions, doing the opposite of what the enemy, tells us to do, live your life in such a way where you really are fed up with the enemy. That's how you win, being fed up with the enemy and just seeing the things happen, in your bloodline, in your neighborhood, like just, man, just the fact that we live in a fallen world, and just the evil things that happen, in the world, like, man, like truly live your life in a way that you really are just fed up with the enemy. That's truly how you win, because the second that you give in to what the enemy is offering you, it's one thing after another, and ultimately you do grow out of love. You do fall out of love with the Lord, and I guarantee you it is absolutely, it's only right, for the enemy, as wicked and as no drop of love in him, you will receive the worst, worst section, you know what I mean, of hell. But if we're talking about Jesus, and we're talking about how he's not a man that he should lie, and if it's written in his word that his plans are good for us, and that he went to go prepare a place for us. All of these things, like, no, like, I'm not gonna follow you, Satan. Like, what? you know but that's how you win. You gotta live your life in a way that you're fed up. You have to, because to be honest with you, there was never a point, after going through, the 2 miscarriages, where I started operating like in my own strength, showing up to just do a job or whatever, like within the ministry. Like, it is a supernatural thing, like, man, I'm not okay, and it took me a while to get there. I will say that it took me a while to get there, to admit, like, man, I'm really not okay. Because it takes me a little minute to actually like process stuff. But when it does, I'm like, no, please, Lord, help me. Help me, please, but like, it really, really was a supernatural thing. And I know that the Lord was calling for me to come back on YouTube, but I just wasn't sure when. And so I am back. And I'm here to share, truly, what the Lord has done in my life on this walk. Yeah, I'm here to share. And I really do pray that, again, if there is anyone, who is watching this video who has also gone through the same thing, I really want you to remember, to not give up on God, to know that even with the enemy accusing and saying all of these lies about you, about the Lord, like, nah, don't pay him any mind. Truly remember the truth, that Jesus really does love you. Even the truth about yourself, when the enemy was trying to accuse me, to say, oh, you really didn't care like that, because you could have done this, you could have did that, telling me that I could have did more and all of these things, or I shouldn't have done this, and accusing me of just wanting to just discard, like, my daughter. Like, that was a wild time. That was a wild place. And it is only by the strength of the Lord on how I am here, but like, Jesus really, really is for you. He's really, really for you. The enemy is not. We know this already, right? So let us hold on to the truth and not be deceived by the lies of the enemy. Everything that you have inside your heart, really pour it out to Jesus, because he already knows. He knows in maybe some areas you really don't trust him for real. He knows in some situations that you do feel disappointed. You do feel rejected or abandoned. Like, really bring these things to Jesus, so that way he can tell you the truth. The lies will be expelled. Like, they'll just, they'll flee. Like, and even like the weight, the burdens, the heaviness that that has been dropped onto you because of these situations, that will also, really help you as well, to really receive some freedom. But really, don't give up on God, because I'm telling you, there is nothing that the enemy can offer you, that will ever fill that place that's only reserved for Jesus in your heart. I'm telling you, truly, even living your life in a way where, man, listen, Jesus, you saved me from hellfire. Because the word says, when I was yet in sin, you died for me. Why? And so, like, live your life in a way where truly, man, I didn't even deserve salvation, but I'm thankful that I have salvation. And so truly, anything additional, that's extra. Like, it really is extra. You know, oh Lord, you're calling me to get married. Praise God. You know, you have children for me too. Okay, praise the Lord. You know, and so I really feel like when we live our lives that way, you know, as well as really being fed up with the enemy, like fed up with him, you know, lying and delaying on your life and stealing so many years of your life too, you know. If you haven't, you know, checked out my testimony, like I'm telling you, like I live my life in such a way where I am absolutely fed up with Satan. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with the enemy, so I'm not going to entertain him. I'm not. I'm not going back into a place of bondage either. You know, it took me a really long time to be just really set free and walk out of that open door cell, you know, labeled shame and condemnation. I'm not going back, you know. So yeah, I'm telling you, Jesus is for you, man. Satan is not. He has nothing to offer you anyway, but a place in the lake of fire, you know. And I pray that you're not receiving this in a way of fear or, you know, or even like misinterpreting like where I am, like, cause I don't follow Jesus out of fear, you know. I don't follow him out of like dictatorship either. Like I really do. I'm a follower of Jesus because he loves me. And although I may not understand why these things happen, you know, other than, bro, we live in a fallen world, you know, but I'm very, very thankful that I didn't have to go through it alone. Because the reality is, if I would have never met Jesus, it still would have happened. Like, it still would have happened, you know? So when the enemy is, you know, oh, well, that's because you're a Christian or this, that, and the third. Like, bro, I'm telling you, he is the father of lies. And so, yeah, like, nah. I follow him because I love him and he is my father. And I know that, hey, there'll be more. There'll be more tough things, you know, that we will have to go through, you know, in this life. But truly, it is very, very comforting to know that my Father is there. He is there. He's not leaving me. And he will provide the strength, the grace, you know, to get through each and every trial. Truly. So, yeah. So, yes, if anybody has gone through that same thing, I really, really want you to know, hold on to hope, hold on to faith, be in the secret place with the Lord, you know, that he will strengthen you, you know, that he will also mend your broken heart, you know. There's so much that I'm sure he wants to share with you. And remain hopeful, remain expectant, you know. Don't try and operate out of control either, because that's a good way, you know, that the enemy also will try and tempt you on control or fearful, you know. But just, you know, cry out to the Lord, be honest with him. Lord, I am fearful, you know, I'm afraid. Well, what if it happens again? You know, Lord, take away my unbelief, you know, all that. I had to do it. I had to do all of that, you know, because stuff is real. It's real, you know, Lord. My hair, like, you know, like, it's really real. So yes, don't leave Jesus in the dark. He already knows these things. Really come to him so you can receive freedom, and just sound mind, strength like never before, just supernatural. But yeah, so I'll catch you guys on the next video. Thank you for tuning in and watching another one. Mama.
Peace.